We're recording? Alright. Wow, it's been a long time since I recorded in this setup, back in my movie review days. A lot has changed, hasn't it? Anyway, I know it's been a while, but I'm back and I'm here to answer some of your questions about my experiences in Japan, in hopes that it will help some of you guys if you're looking to travel there. I haven't been everywhere in Japan, okay? Don't get it twisted, but I would say I've definitely experienced more than the average person, as you would know if you watched my videos. 100% the convenience factor. It's so easy to just find vending machines littered everywhere where you can pay like $1 a pop. Pretty inexpensive, extremely easy to stay hydrated when you're out and about. Same with convenience stores. There can literally be like 2 7-Elevens on the same street, Lawson's as well. I found myself liking Family Mart the most though, and they stock so much from like drinks, hot and cold, to bento boxes, fruit, desserts, chips, breakfast items, along with many other stuff. And there were these energy jellies and vitamin lemon drinks I absolutely could not live without when I was there. Public toilets as well. If you have a small bladder, don't fret because there's always public toilets in and around tourist attractions, and if you're on the road, it's very common to see small business hotels around, such as APA, where you can just enter freely and go to the toilet in the lobby. So convenient. It's the land of convenience, as I like to call it. This is very similar to the previous question. I do think the convenience factor is the best, one of, if not the best things about Japan, but another one is that it's extremely easy to navigate around. You might have trouble in the stations though, because some of those, especially Shinjuku station, is a right maze. Stations like those are like the same size as some airports, but generally there are English signs everywhere almost, and Japan is very Google friendly, unlike Korea where Google is buggy. In Japan, Google Maps was my best friend, especially when catching trains where it even tells you which carriage to get off for faster transferring. And I will have to say, that's another thing that I miss. Trains in Japan are just so convenient and even just fun to ride around in and just transfer in. The people. Tourists. I'm trying to think of like stuff I don't like that's unique to Japan, but yeah, because you see like tourists and people everywhere, right? But I'm just struggling to. Nope. The one thing that pissed me off the most was people. Some who don't have any common courtesy at all. If you're touching my bag and I can feel it in a line, you are too close. Some people are so fucking impatient. People who just block the road. Like people are like legit just standing on the road, like pedestrian crossing, make it harder for other people to cross when they could be staying in like an area really close by that's out of people's way, and but they don't do it. And just crowds in general. Oh, you know, it's Saturday, that's why. Fucking hell, bro.
Bro, this was not this bad yesterday.
I think I said this in one of my previous vlogs. The more people there are, the more potential dickheads that are around. I heard Japan is actually doing something to reduce the amount of tourists, and it's recommended to visit Japan before like the end of 2026 or something, whenever the new laws kick in, which I don't even know what it is, to be honest. They're probably exaggerating, but it's good and hopefully it works. And as you saw, man, I was surprised by how insanely busy some of the places were, namely in like the most popular cities, Tokyo and Osaka. This is the hardest question you can ask me because every city I went to was unique and special in their own way, and the answer is pretty much subjective because it all has to do with your individual experiences, right? I had a lot of fun in Fukuoka, Nagasaki, Miyajima, Sendai, Nagoya, amongst pretty much every city I visited, with those listed being the more memorable ones. However, I still have to hand it to the main three: Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. There's a reason why people mainly go to those cities. Yeah, it's way more crowded, but the amount of stuff you can do in not only those cities but around them makes them the best cities I visited in Japan. For example, with Tokyo, you got access to Mount Fuji, Kamakura, Yokohama, Chiba, Hakone, and much more. Don't even get me started about the stuff you can do inside the city, which feels like a mega city with one side feeling kind of completely different to the other, to be honest. I had to stay in like both sides of the city to fully experience it. Then you've got Kyoto and Osaka, which are like 30 minutes from each other, which you can have access to Nara with its must-visit deer park, and Kobe for its mountainous landscape, portside views, and famous Kobe beef. Osaka is also an exciting big city to explore, with the Dotonbori Bridge area being one of the best places I visited in Japan. Out of the three though, I honestly think I like Kyoto the best, because it felt more calming and traditional, with the many temples and shrines scattered throughout, and a peaceful river area where you can bike around. It's a huge city too, much bigger than I thought coming into it. Kyoto, Tokyo, and then Osaka. In that order, at least for me. I have two answers for this. First one I would say is Kobe, because that 8-hour-ish hike where I was stuck stranded on top of the Maya Mountains killed me. But I wasn't there for long, so my actual answer would actually be Tokyo. I think it was mostly because it was the first out of the big three that I visited, so I found it very overwhelming in my first few days with the amount of people that were there, but also how convoluted and confusing it was navigating the train stations at first. With Seoul, where I felt like I could just get into the vibe of the city straight away, Tokyo was really one that I had to just kind of ease into and learn to love, learn to enjoy, because of how overwhelming it can be for a first timer like me. Every city surprised me in one way or another, because you see things online, right? That's one thing, but actually going there and actually being there, that's a totally completely different thing, as you'd expect, right? For example, I didn't know small cities like Hakodate could have a star-shaped fortress there. I didn't know Kyoto was that big and wasn't all traditional architecture. In fact, that was actually a very small part of it. The rest was a huge city which was really fun to explore around. And like, I didn't expect how many Vietnamese people were in Osaka. But I will say that the most surprising city for me was Fukuoka, along with Nagasaki as well. I guess we'll kind of clump them together. Keep in mind, this was towards the very end of my trip, and you know, when you get to that very end point, especially on such a long and strenuous trip as this one, you tend to just want to go home. But I still had so much fun and did so much despite feeling very burnt out and tired. Before going there, I was like, I'll just be there for my final 6 days, just mostly relaxing. Like I'll see some things, but like I'll try to take it easy and on the final leg of my trip. I mean, what is there to do in Fukuoka, right? A lot, actually. Not only in Fukuoka, but also in the island Kyushu as a whole, which really surprised me. It really pays going off the beaten path. A lot, but also not a lot at the same time. Have you ever just gone on Google Maps and looked at Japan? It's a huge island with so many different cities. I mean, you could be in Tokyo for like, what, a month and still not find it enough time. Give me half a year in Japan and it still won't feel like enough. I don't even think you could like cover 25% of what the whole country has to offer in 1 month. You can have a really good understanding. Heck, you could even like know a city in a day if you want to. Like, remember that full-on day on my second day in Seoul where I walked 40k steps? But to actually feel like you're living there in a month, you could feel that way. But you might only see only just a sliver of what the whole country has on offer, just because the country is so massive. You know, I've been asked this a couple times already, and I don't like answering it just because it depends. There's no definite answer because it really depends what hotels you stay at, how many souvenirs you buy, how frequently you eat, the places where you go to eat. All I'm gonna say is this: whatever you think you're gonna spend, expect to spend 15% more. Around about that. For example, I thought at the end of my trip I would have enough money for 2 more weeks. 1 day in Kagoshima and the rest back in South Korea. But I didn't. But to give you some sort of answer, I guess, I spent like, 10k Australian dollars, maybe a bit less, for like a month in Japan. Something like that. But then again, if you saw the places that I stayed in, man, what I had was like a budget for like, I'd say mid to top range. It ranks first. And that's only because, like I said, it all depends on the experiences you have. I don't think I spent... why am I even thinking about this? It's definitely Japan, because I definitely spent the most in Japan than any other city I've been to, any other country I've been to. And I've been to a fair few, like maybe 8 or 9, as you've seen if you've been browsing the previous videos on my channel. You know, the only thing I didn't document yet was China, because back then it's been 10 years since I've been back. So yeah, but yeah, it definitely ranks first because the amount of stuff I did, man, crazy. Also because it felt a lot safer and cleaner than the cities I went to in Southeast Asia, in Europe. So yeah, there's also that. The only regret I can say is that I should have gone to a bar or a club sooner. I should have socialized more. I should have tried to form more relationships. But yeah, being a solo traveler and someone with social anxiety, that was a really hard thing to do. But now with the experience, I mean, I was able to do it. One of my missions was to do it, and I was able to do it in one of my last days in Fukuoka. And having had that experience, now I know there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be scared about. So yeah, that's I think my only real regret, I guess. I think that's all the time we have. Don't want to make this video too long. I could be here for hours. But don't worry, this question, as well as everything solo travel related, like how safe is Japan as a solo traveler, will all be answered in the next video, Alone in Japan. So stay tuned. Listen, I don't like giving advice, not because I'm a bad guy, but like things change over time, so stuff I say might become outdated. I mean, it has been like over a year since I was there, but I will say 3 things though. Always have some physical money in hand, get an IC card, and have an app like Go Taxi available. I think that's the main 3 pieces of advice that I would give myself if I started the trip. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to leave them below and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. And make sure to follow my main Instagram page, which I'll link down below, just so you can stay up to date with what I'm doing and any future travel plans. And if you haven't already, make sure to watch all of my vlogs from the very beginning. Trust me, it's very interesting. But yeah, see you in the next video. Oh, there's another question. I don't want to give it away, but let's just say I definitely will be going. I'm 90% sure I'll be going somewhere this year in 2025. So that's exciting. I don't know if it'll be as interesting or like intense or like full on as this Japan trip was, but from my experiences with this trip, I'll definitely try to make something of it. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, see you in the next video.